everybody, welcome to Take the Black Live, the weekly show where myself, Dan Selcke, editor of WintersComing.net, and Cheryl Wassenaar, executive editor of WintersComing.net, I did that right now. I don't know if you like it or not. Talk about all the Game of Thrones, Song of Fire, genre sci-fi fantasy news you can use. And I'm sorry today that Facebook is not cooperating. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. If you're watching later, as we post this on Facebook, also hello. And I'm sorry we couldn't take your comments like we usually do.
Or if you're listening on our podcast.
Or listening on our podcast on iTunes, Google Cloud, and Google Play, Coldplay, something like that.
Google Play.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Facebook's been weird all day, and we couldn't get it to work. Sometimes it just happens. They've changed things up. Their scheduling thing is different now. Mm-hmm. I couldn't post pictures today at all. I don't know why.
Pictures have been really busted. Instagram is kind of down too.
So Zuckerberg, get it together, and you will in a minute, and we'll be back tomorrow with this. Okay, so Game of Thrones news, or rather Bloodmoon news.
Bloodmoon.
And we can say that now because it's the truth.
Bloodmoon is the truth. It is the way. Just embrace it into your heart.
It is the
soul.
title.
It is.
But we'll get to that in a second. First, so basically Bloodmoon's happening. Game of Thrones prequel. They're filming it right now in Northern Ireland, Italy in a minute, I think, at like a giant crack in a beautiful rock off the coast somewhere. And there are starting to be the images flooding in.
Of course.
You know, from the old time Game of Thrones shutterbugs. I wonder if that'll keep up if the show, we wonder. We won't know until it. I wonder if it'll debut and maybe this isn't worth it. Or maybe that's just a new thing that just happens now on shows. I was reading, Vikings, they're taking pictures of that too.
Yeah.
Just that's a modern reality, I guess. Just people taking pictures of sets.
Welcome to the internet. But
yeah, we have people finally in costumes walk around. This is actually happening. They are making a Game of Thrones prequel. I have no idea what the people are or what they're wearing, but it's medieval-esque.
They're wearing clothes.
They're wearing clothes, and they're wearing kind of Marjorie Tyrell-ish hair, I think. This is from Watchers on the Wall, excellent Game of Thrones fan site out there. And yeah, looking good. Can't complain about that. I think probably the best picture was this kind of rack of armor I saw from the Northern Ireland set.
Okay.
Where, I kind of like it, rusted.
Yeah. A little
And,
more bronzy, Bronze Age.
Yeah, Bronze Age. Okay, remind me. It's Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, Gilded Age?
Sure.
Is that right? Not the Gilded Age. That's a joke, obviously.
Not the golden, not the gilt. Yeah, but that's roughly accurate.
Yeah. I mean,
my degree's in English, not history.
We keep hearing about, how it's set thousands of years in the past.
Right.
And that they're going kind of between the mammoths and the caves. I get almost like a caveman aesthetic.
Right.
But we shouldn't, take that on. I mean, just because they're shooting in caves doesn't mean they're going to literally be a caveman show. Kind of fun. I wouldn't mind a caveman show. I haven't seen a popular caveman show. But they'll still have armor. There'll still be castles. There will still be all kinds of manner of that.
Right.
And, of course, the logo, which was snapped on the set by some enterprising shutterbug, Bloodmoon from Endless Winter Productions Limited. So it is. Bloodmoon. That's the title. Are you pleased?
Yeah, because I think it's goofy and great. I love it so
It's
much,
fine.
you guys.
I never hated it. I just thought it seemed a little campy, maybe, for what I thought this was going for. But I mean, if it's a fantasy show, there's no shortage of titles like that. You know what I do like? It'll be easy to write.
Yes.
You know how many times Game of Thrones has filled up the headlines that we try to write to the point where we need to get rid of characters?
Yes.
So if they keep Bloodmoon, great.
It's down to 10. It's down to 10 characters, including the space.
Including the space, which I'm pretty sure there is, because it's Blood Moon.
Yeah, that is an ongoing debate between us right now.
Really important debate we're having.
Is it Blood Moon one word or Blood Moon two words? I feel like it's gonna end up I want it to be one word in my heart, but I will accept two words. I just really like Blood Moon as a title. I spent a whole article on Wik, if you'd like to go and read it, kind of theorizing why it's
you
called.
Some great theories, yeah.
Yeah, I pulled it all together. I did some science, barely science, kind of just theorizing about what it means, if this is the second moon that dragons came out of, or what went on with this. Is this the reason why Westeros has weird seasons?
I loved that. I loved
Yeah.
that there was a connection to be made. I mean, I know it's just 2 words, but whatever. We're going to go there anyway.
Absolutely.
That your idea was, there was a scene in the first season where Daenerys talks about how dragons are born. She's told by her Dothraki handmaiden
Yes.
that there's another moon. The sun got too close to the sun, it cracked open, dragons poured out.
Yes.
Like, what if, that's obviously probably a legend, but what if there was a second moon at some point and it was destroyed some way or another? And maybe it made dragons, maybe it threw off the tides, maybe it threw off the planetary tilt and made wacky seasons.
And maybe it's all the result of some magic gone very, very, very awry.
Maybe some Children of the Forest stuff.
Yeah. Just kind of all throwing that together and seeing what it comes out. And I was kind of pleased with it, actually.
Totally. I liked it a lot.
Thank you.
Maybe, I think you said that maybe the destruction of the second moon could be the finale of the first season or the third season or something.
Yeah. I feel like that would be kind of a good echo to the parent show where the high mark of Fire and Blood is the hatching of the dragons, and that's
Right.
kind of what that first season ends on. To kind of do something similar with the original birth of dragons, if you will.
I didn't
Yeah.
make that connection, actually. I just thought like a big magical moment to end on.
I mean, that too. That's totally valid.
But it would totally work the other way. Like,
Yeah.
okay, dragons are birthed both times.
It could be layered multiple ways.
Now I want it. Now it's appealing to me. Now
Oh,
it's
no.
like it's got a little. I like organize things in order.
I'm sorry. I will have ruined it for you.
No, totally
Kind
works.
of preemptively.
But it's not all going to be destroying moons and caves. We also have a picture snagged by, I think, Watchers Again, about a familiar symbol. Okay, zoom in on that inset picture.
Enhance.
Enhance. No, perfect. As you can see, that is pretty clearly. I didn't see it at first, but after you look at it, that is a lion's head statue.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, lions, Lannister symbol.
I note the golden stone around it. Like there's kind of that yellowy stone in the above
I
cave.
think that might be the wood.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't quite tell. Or like the, I don't know, the overlay, or I don't know what they call it.
yeah.
I'm not sure that's part of the set that we're going to see.
It's
I'm
part
not
of the
sure.
set in my heart.
Okay, gotcha. But the point is,
There's a lion head.
lion's head statue in a cave. Lannister symbol, obviously. Thousands of years before, no Lannisters. So, what's happening, Cheryl?
Land the clever.
Land the clever.
I'm excited.
I mean, yeah, I think it's the idea that I came up with is I think that makes most sense.
Give me your theories.
Is that just because the Lannisters weren't around back then, there were other people who had the lion sigil, probably House Casterly of Casterly Rock, which Land the Clever tricked them out of having somehow. We don't quite know how. I still like my idea that Naomi Watts will play Land the Clever, and that it was just kind of distorted over the aeons of time, that it was a woman who kind of, you need to see that, like, I don't know, like a proto-Lannister getting in through trickery, like, strategic marriages, turning folks against each other, that kind of thing. I could see that.
Yeah. I would be super into this whole like founding myth of a family being so distorted that they can't even like remember the person's gender.
I mean, again, like thousands of years ago, I mean, like, good Lord, 3,000 years ago, I don't know what the hell was happening.
That's right.
What was that, 1000 AD? Well,
Thousand
who was
BC.
even active then? Yeah, BC.
BC.
Who was even active then? The Egyptians? I don't even know.
Yes.
That like wasn't even the Romans' time yet.
No, it's a little early for them still.
Yeah, exactly. Could have been anybody doing stuff.
Could have been anybody.
No, they're still. It's not like they have carbon dating. It's not like they have like specific ways to do this. It's like if you wrote it down, great. I hope you did, because if you didn't, you're not going to know it.
Doesn't exist anymore.
If you can read it, then. So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for maybe things to have gotten through a 1,000-year-long game of telephone a little warbled.
I'm excited, and like I have like completely, just like you bought into my whole second moon theory, like I have completely bought into Naomi Watts' Land the Clever.
We are writing the first season of Bloodmoon.
Where? Check
And now if it doesn't
HBO.
happen this way, we're going to be upset. I'm going to start a petition.
seriously, like, where are our checks, HBO? Like, we'll take them. You know, we can provide our address upon request.
But yeah, so things are going nicely.
Yeah.
And we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, it's kind of like, I have no idea if it's going to be good or not. I have no idea if what they're shooting is terrible. But it does kind of feel nice to be doing this again a little bit, like looking
Yeah.
at pictures behind the scenes.
Yeah, there was that brief kind of period where we didn't have any pictures, and you kind of just feel a little adrift.
I did a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Me
it's
too.
good. I enjoyed
So-
that. But speaking of petitions, back in the
boy.
Game of Thrones world, let's talk personal people celebrity stories for a second.
Okay.
And let's talk fandom. Let's talk anger. Let's talk the ineffable comings and goings of emotion between the people who make art, people who consume it, and the void in between.
Deep.
That's all a long introduction of saying Dave Benioff and Dan Weiss, the Game of Thrones showrunners, are attending the Game of Thrones panel at San Diego Comic-Con later this month. Okay, so when we heard this, I think a lot of people were a little surprised because the big takeaway from the final season of Game of Thrones is a lot of people did not like it. People were upset. A lot of people. I'm not saying everybody. A lot of people were upset.
This is a non-controversial statement.
I think it is, yeah.
Or it should be.
And a lot of the anger was directed at those two.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, pretty much all of it. I have no clue if it's deserved or not or what. I don't know them. I wasn't behind the scenes. So the idea that they're going to go in front of just Hall H, a hall full of passionate fans, like, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little worried. Like, what if the fans embarrass themselves? Remember, I keep flashing back to that Rick and Morty controversy. Remember this? When they were offering like a Szechuan sauce at McDonald's because it was like a Rick and Morty thing.
Yeah.
And these fans made complete assholes of themselves in like line, like dancing on tables. I'm like, oh God, what if someone actually brings a tomato or something and like just humiliates all the fans?
I mean, I don't know if they're going to go to that point because of how, like, I don't want to say like stringent security can be at cons these days.
Oh, sure.
But still, like, to be kind of on the nose about it, it's very ballsy of them.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it does feel ballsy of them.
like if I created this season that a significant portion of my fandom like hated, and then to go to kind of the biggest pop culture convention like a couple months later, like, no, you got to let those things breathe.
I'm going to watch it. I mean, it has been a couple months. I'm going to watch it closely. Like, they have not spoken since.
No, they have not.
I mean, like, would you? I don't know.
Also, no. Like, I'm kind of reminded of how things kind of went quiet in Star Wars after the prequel trilogy.
Did they?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I was young and not quite as much on the internet then.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely been kind of this pivoting away from George Lucas a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
And so, like, I feel like it might not be the best move, but at least the wiser move to kind of do the same for Benioff and Weiss. Except that then they're going to go to Star Wars, and probably make other people angry. But this kind of refusal to back down, if you will. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing on its own. I just think that the timing is a little off.
I mean, I think the timing is Comic-Con was going to be in July no matter what.
Right.
I mean, I think they have every right to be there. It's their show. If they want to be
Yeah.
there, they should be there. I am curious. I'm just curious. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how people will be respectful or just, kind of. I mean, I'm sure it was originally conceived as a victory lap. Like back when they planned, we'll go to Game of Thrones at Comic-Con afterwards, so we'll have like a victory lap. I'm not sure they foresaw the huge backlash coming. And they didn't have to come. I mean, they were actually, I think, like recent announcements to it. At first, they were like, weren't sure if they're going to come or not. And then they're going to. So you got to wonder if they want to come to, I don't know, put a button on this, say their piece, whatever. But yeah, I hope it'll be interesting, and just please, people, don't make fools of yourselves if you're watching or planning to go when you have ideas. I'm sorry, I've seen mean tweets, and I'm getting worried.
Oh boy. What do the mean tweets say?
Like, let's burn them alive. Let's.
Oh my God.
Well, that's probably the worst of it. Like, yeah, we gotta tell them off. We gotta go there. We gotta like get in their faces and like, oh God, please no.
Like, look, you have the right to boo, or like, not applaud, or just remain stonily silent. Like, but don't like interrupt the panel and if they take questions, don't do that. This is more of a comment instead of a question. Like, please, don't be that person.
I'm sure it'll go fine. Game of Thrones fans are by the large, mature, and intelligent. I still have, I can't help it. Like, I flash back to that Rick and Morty thing, and I think, like, no, please not that. Anything but that.
Anything but that. Yeah, no, please be adults.
Yeah. Speaking of kind of fandom and where it goes right and where it goes wrong, George R. R. Martin had a little comment about that, talking to Leonard Maltin. I mean, he was talking about. I listened to the whole interview, by the way. It was like an hour and a half. It was pretty good,
Okay.
and he and Leonard Maltin were dorking out over 70s fanzine culture, which they were involved in. They're two 70-somethings having a good time. What?
Go on.
Okay.
Read me the quote.
They were dorking out, and he was just talking about, because, I mean, he's been there since the early days of fandom to now. He's been a part of it all this time. And according to George R. R. Martin, the internet is toxic in a way that the old fanzine culture and the fandoms, comic fans, science fiction fans, in those days was not. Yeah, there were disagreements, there were feuds, but nothing like the madness that you see on the internet. It did not empower anonymity, the coward's means of discourse. I do like that phrase. I'll say that.
I mean, it's a nice phrase.
It is a nice phrase. Yeah. Good word chooser.
I mean, oh boy, guys.
Okay.
I feel like this is one of those times where we have to remember the kind of perspective that Martin is coming from, which is of a straight white guy.
Sure.
And so I think his, or ostensibly straight. I don't mean to cast, like, I know exactly what George R. R. Martin's sexuality is, but he's a white guy. And let's face it, like, fandom has kind of been taken over by, or was taken over by white guys in the 70s.
Sure.
Because in the late 60s, that kind of thing, it was women who were leading the march to save Star Trek, writing all the letters to get NBC to save the show. And like, so this whole like, oh, there were disagreements, there were feuds, nothing like the madness, like this idea of like gatekeeping and like having only certain people being allowed in the fandom, like all of that's not new. And so this kind of like, oh, the internet is more toxic than old fandom culture used to be. Like, I don't know if I can really agree with that in a, as in like this very, I can't really just agree with, I can't really agree with it. I think it kind of is a very kind of narrow viewpoint. He's speaking from his point of view, obviously.
Sure.
But to say something that is kind of that definitive, like the internet is toxic in a way that old fandoms weren't, like, I think is just kind of
Rose-colored glasses a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of misses.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think it's pretty common that when you get older, you look back in your youth and it's easy to like remember the good times and just kind of wash away the real issues. It feels a little like somebody like, I don't know, like looking back on the 50s and 60s and being like, those were the good old days. Because I mean, like, you were having a good time during them, but
you were having a good time. Nobody else was.
I mean,
Yeah.
I take his point that yes, the internet, fandom on the internet can be toxic. I think that's definitely true. But yeah, it's not like it's not like it's new.
Yeah,
Or that there
like-
weren't giant problems back then either.
Yeah, like not new, really. Like,
It is a new method of delivery. It is a
Yes.
new way to be toxic.
yeah, but it's also opened up fandom
Yes, absolutely.
beyond the world of the fanzine or stuff like that. Like, I literally pre-ordered a zine of Fire Emblem fan art because I'm that person.
You like Fire Emblem a lot, don't you?
I love Fire Emblem, okay? But like I wouldn't have known about it except for the internet. Like I've followed some of the artists on Twitter and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're doing this thing." Like so every day I get to experience new fan art and new fanfic if I so choose to read. Like there's always more out there that's available to me even if I don't want to leave my house.
Right.
Which is great.
Which was a lot harder in the 70s when it was
Exactly.
like, there were fanzines out there, but, it was kind of like they were reminiscing. Like,
Yeah.
he and Leonard Maltin about, like, we had to go down and make copies at, like, the local library or whatever, and we could, like, etch them ourselves. And at the end of the day, it's a pretty small circulation. It's
Right.
a pretty, fandom's blown up so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just interesting to think about. I mean, obviously someone who grew up, then again, I get what he's saying about, I'm sure he has to interact with it in such a different way than he used to.
Yeah.
Because the processes are all different. And, the
Change
artists,
is hard.
artists who are growing up now, who are going to grow up communicating with their fans through Twitter, through Instagram, through the internet, when we get to, neurons directly into our brains and just, telepathic fandom, they'll think it's weird too.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with this, with these ideas that things have kind of changed, but I think again he's kind of viewing it from this rose-colored perspective a little bit.
It's two 70-somethings having a good time.
More power to him.
It's a good interview, though. I did enjoy it. I do like how genuinely he does seem like a real fan. Like he really loves
Yeah,
this crap.
And
he
I
really
don't
loves
just,
sci-fi. He
like-
really loves. He talked about like how he loves old time like movie theaters for like 20 minutes. It's kind of cute. But yeah, generational things happen.
it's true. Like I appreciate that he is a fan, but like I can also, you can like a thing or like something that somebody's saying, but also have problems with it, and that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Sure. Good culture stuff.
Yeah.
Back to how about some merch next?
Okay.
Quick thing, easy thing.
Let's consume.
Let's consume Game of Thrones complete series box set coming
Ooh.
in December with 9 separate panels
Is there art?
illustrated by.
There's the art. I was looking for the art.
It's pretty
Oh
neat.
my
That's pretty nice. It's
God.
like I think they call it like a shadow box.
Holy
where you
shnikes.
Put it in there, and then I'm not sure. I guess like 9 different panels for 8 seasons and 1 special features thing. I'm guessing probably. Yeah.
Checks out. Seems very
They're all
math.
illustrated by Robert Ball, who does the beautiful Death series.
Oh, yes.
It's very, very nice. I think it's like $250, so have fun with that if you want.
There goes the paycheck.
But yeah, of course, we knew that was coming. We know that they're going to have like a celebratory cap the series off giant box set.
Absolutely.
It's going to have a cast reunion special hosted by Conan O'Brien, where they just all talk about their experiences, like Sean Bean, Mark Addy, Jason Momoa, the current cast members, more. I'll be back. That could be fun.
Yeah.
15 hours of bonus stuff, 10 audio commentaries for season 8. I'll look forward to hearing some of those, actually.
Yeah.
Although, honestly, they're so hit and miss. Like, I like commentaries, but sometimes people are serious about them, like, actually want to talk about what's going on, and sometimes they're just kind of there with their friends and just kind of goofing off. And, like, it's your commentary. Do whatever you want. I just figure, like, if you do one, wouldn't you want to talk about it, like the episode?
I mean, I'm not a huge commentary
movie,
fan,
right.
but like, I feel like in some ways talking about it is fun, but also hearing like the stars, like
Goof.
have some fun
Mm-hmm.
with this product, and drop little tidbits and all that in the midst of the fun. I think that's valuable too.
If you want to have fun, go to a bar. If you want to do a commentary, talk to me about the episode. That's my opinion. That's my take.
Okay, that is an opinion. Like,
The worst are the ones where, like, if they get on there, and this isn't just Game of Thrones, this is all things that I do some commentaries sometimes, where they just, like, get on there, like, I'm the director, I'm the actor, I'm the writer. And then, like, 10 minutes of silence. And then just like, oh, here, we shot this for a long time. Like, why are you even here? But okay, that's a whole separate thing.
No, you allowed me to have my soapbox moment about George R. R. Martin and fandom as a culture. I'm allowing you to have this moment about commentaries. Please continue if you so desire.
That's about it. There are
Okay.
10 of them.
Okay.
You know, deleted scenes, extended scenes, history and lore
boy.
features.
I'm excited
all
for
the
the histories
stuff.
and lore.
Yeah, those are always good.
I want to see if they drop any that are related to Bloodmoon.
Oh, you know, they might. That's not a bad idea. Soft introduction. Mm-hmm. And any other comments on any of this? Any Game of Thrones, Blood Moon, Song of the Violated stuff you want to talk about further?
Bloodmoon. I love Bloodmoon. I just love the name of it. Like, I don't care.
I'm very glad.
I don't care if it's a bad show. At this point, I'm like, heck yeah, Bloodmoon.
The logo's neat with like the two
Yeah.
O's, which I think are supposed to be moons or have lines through them. Are they waves? I'm not sure.
I don't know. We'll find out
We'll find out.
if we watch Bloodmoon.
If it gets picked up to pilot, you'd think they'd be insane not to do it, but weirder things have happened. Okay, and
Dare we
finally,
say stranger things have happened?
I didn't say that. I purposely didn't say that.
And I went there.
Stranger things happening, depending on when you're watching this, when we're recording this, tomorrow.
Yeah, we're recording this on July 3rd. So
Speaking of things that aren't Game of Thrones, let's go beyond the wall and Netflix shows. So as we know, it's really begun, the press of post Game of Thrones fantasy series. This week alone, they announced a Sandman show on Netflix, which I'm very excited about. I really love Sandman.
he cast Adam Driver.
I did not. Sci-fi.com cast Adam Driver.
Okay,
I just agreed vociferously.
Well, you sent it to me, so I thought it was you. But sci-fi.com cast Adam Driver as their dream Sandman, and I was like, and I've never read Sandman, and Dan was like, he's kind of a moody, brooding goth guy, and I'm
Yes.
like, okay, let Adam Driver do what he wants with that role. But continue, please.
But yeah, that's happening. They're making a Final Fantasy series, which I'm not surprised that hasn't happened by now when I think about it.
Well, I mean, the movies weren't as successful
No, they were not.
as they were kind of expected to be, so I can see why Square Enix was kind of a little gun shy about it.
Yeah, there haven't been many video game, like, splashy TV series. They're making a Halo series, too. I think on Showtime Stars, I
Yeah,
forget.
Showtime, I think.
And like those are two brand new ones. That's in addition to Amazon's Lord of the Rings show, which had a director today. Showtime's King Killer Chronicles. You got The Witcher, of course, we're going to talk about. You got His Dark Materials. You got Watchmen. You got Blood Moon. You got a lot. Oh, Wheel of Time. You got a lot of things in the pipeline. People are making big plays.
Yeah, I wrote a whole editorial about this that is going to go live on Wick sometime in the near future. So look out for that, guys, in which I get to yell about this is too much, you guys. But The Witcher, which is one of the shows
Yeah.
that I am actually excited about now that I've seen pictures.
Tell me why. Yeah, so Netflix released images from The Witcher this week, which is their big try at it. I'm currently reading the books by Andre.
You're probably close enough.
Sure, it's a long Polish name.
Yeah.
So let's look at the pictures and what made you excited, Cheryl. So we got Henry. I used to play Superman Cavill as lead character Geralt of Rivia in Netflix's The Witcher. Was this the one?
No, it's the poster.
Oh, I don't have the poster.
It's okay. I will describe the poster for you guys.
I think it looks pretty good though. Like,
Yeah.
I'm reading the books. He kind of looks very chiseled, but I don't know. That's Superman, I guess, for you. It looks nice. It looks moody. It looks dark. It looks grim.
Yeah.
It looks textured.
Yeah.
It's a good picture. Good fantasy stuff.
So I will describe the poster for y'all. So the poster is Henry Cavill's butt. Like his back is to the camera, and like the outfit is cut in such a way that it's like. Do you know the scene in the Avengers where Steve Rogers is doing the punching bag?
Yeah.
And there's only one thing you look at. It's kind of like that.
America's ass.
Yes. And so it proves to me that Netflix knows what it is selling here, and it is selling Henry Cavill in dirty fantasy clothing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure many people know the story of The Witcher. It involves Geralt, who is a witcher,
Yeah.
professional monster hunter, in this,
Yeah.
a pretty traditional fantasy, medieval-y realm with warring kingdoms and all that jazz. But if they can, I mean, we're talking about like they with all the new shows coming out, they need something to sell it. They need something to make it stand out, and Henry Cavill's butt could do it.
That's what I'm saying.
And if you get to choose between like Wheel of Time, Blood Moon, King Killer, The Witcher, this can make you choose The Witcher.
Henry Cavill's butt is a pretty compelling argument, guys.
Here's some other pictures. We also got, let's see, Anya Shalatra as Yennefer, Geralt's on again, off again, sorceress love interest. You don't know anything about this, but I think she looks too young. I think Yennefer should be a little older. Again, I'm reading the books now. They're like, they have a turbulent relationship. And she's like 23, Henry Cavill's 36. That's my kind of reservation about it.
Oh, yeah. I do kind of like the picture, though. I
love the outfit.
I love the
I like
costume
the hair.
design. It kind of reminds me of Lulu from Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that.
But less anime and more medieval fantasy.
Yeah, like Lulu by way of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, yeah. And I kind of like that. I like her aesthetic. I could see where you might think she might be too young. So I'm wondering.
The aesthetic is good.
But the aesthetic is good.
Yeah,
I
I am happy with the mise en scène they are presenting here in these photos.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely like Henry Cavill's butt. And then the aesthetic was like 1A to Henry Cavill's butt. So that's why I'm excited.
I mean, and that's part of the aesthetic, Henry Cavill's butt.
True. So really, it's just the aesthetic of it all. But anyway.
And finally, Freya Allen as Ciri, who is Geralt's young apprentice, basically.
Oh, okay.
Training her in the ways of professional monster hunting. Those three are like, just to fill you guys in, to fill you in a little bit, if we're going to watch this thing. They're pretty much the main three characters. You got Geralt, and then his love interest, and then his protege. Are like kind of the three biggest characters. It's like, you know, it's like there are tons of characters because it's a fantasy series, but those are like the three pillars. Those are like the Jon Snow, Daenerys, and Tyrion, if you will, of this series.
I do like that two of them are women.
Me too.
I'm interested to see if they're differentiated and that sort of thing, like how their character arcs play out and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. The books, I think, if anybody's out there who's read them, I think they have some good ideas and kind of a good world, even a good story, but they could definitely be improved upon. I think that they're like the ideal thing to adapt because, like, adapted through somebody who has maybe a better hand for dialogue, they could really be improved in a measurable way. So I hope that the showrunner for The Witcher, I forget her name, but she's very active on Twitter. She loves like talking about stuff. Can add her own stamp on it and not just adapt The Witcher that's there, but like make it her own and make it better than the books.
Yeah, I mean, I think she has at least a good example of how to do that with the Witcher games, which are quite successful.
They are very successful. I never played them. Have you?
No, but my I've had relatives who do and who enjoy them, and so I think she has, in some ways, like a greater challenge because there's already been the Witcher games, but at the same time, like she's got the source material, and she's got Henry Cavill's butt, and frankly, that goes a long way. So I'm excited to see, you know, already this kind of strong commitment to this aesthetic.
Yeah, she seems very committed. And I think it's a good sign that someone like you, who doesn't really know the series that well, is interested.
I am at least
interested.
interested.
I'll say this as a closing remark. I'm looking forward to covering the author, Andre Serre, because he is a crotchety grump. And it's a lot of fun. Like, excellent. Whenever he is in the news, it's for doing something grumpy. It's so great. Like, he has a whole thing where he sold the video game rights to The Witcher, like way back when. And he thought the video games would do horribly, so he insisted on a lump sum payment rather than like profit share. So he got like nothing, and he's been bitter the rest of his life. And he like sued them. It was a whole thing. It was great.
They're just bringing The Witcher 3 into the Nintendo Switch.
I know.
Like, those games do not die.
So he's great. He said, like, my job on... He's consulting on the show. He's not a part of it, really, but he's like, you know, consulting producer, Andres, which means, like, you call him once in a year to make sure this is okay. My job is to make sure Ed Sheeran won't be on the show. Which is a...
He did not.
He's the kind... Like, he'll do that. He'll like, low blow you, which is just... a good person to be in the news.
Wow.
There is a Bard character. I hope Ed Sheeran plays him. I don't think he will, but that'd be funny.
I mean, that's like Damon Lindelof like tear. 'Cause
Oh God, that too.
Didn't Damon, like, I know we were kind of talking about this earlier. Damon, so George R. R. Martin said something about Lost, and then
Like years ago.
and David Lindelof
Right after it was over.
did not forget.
For 9 years, he was holding it.
And then he like came out. What was it today on Twitter or
I think
the
it's
other
the other
day
day, yeah.
on Instagram? And he was like, he was like, that said, I've always wondered if you'd be House Stark or House Lannister. This is Damon Lindelof talking to George R. R. Martin. Now I know it's House Glass. Let's stop throwing stones, shall we? Like, damn.
My image of Damon Lindelof now, who's the guy behind Lost and the upcoming Watchmen show, is that for the last 8 years, I bet he went to parties, like, had one beer, and then immediately started talking about, like, I don't like that George R. R. Martin. His friends are like, oh, not this again. God damn it, David. Somebody drive him home.
Oh, no. But yeah, he must be a real treat. Like, as
Be
just
a
a
prize.
person.
Yeah.
Just as a person. Like,
The kind of person who stores that so they can have an underhanded, passive-aggressive comment on Instagram 8 years later, someone you really want to know. Maybe he is, but that's pretty funny.
yeah, between him and Andre, we got some real winners in the genre space these days.
I will say this about the toxicity thing. You can be toxic on a much grander scale. Well, no, it's not that you're more toxic, but there's just more people know. Like when you do something crap like that.
Yeah, the internet is forever
Right? And yeah, I'm not going to forget it. And hopefully none of you will either.
because it's hilarious.
All right. Any other comments you want to say before we sign off?
No, other than if you are celebrating the 4th of July, have a great weekend. If you're
Of
not
course.
celebrating, still have a great weekend.
And if you're wondering, along with Dan and Josh, Josh Hill is off today for a dentist appointment. We wish him and his teeth a good cleaning. And he'll be back next week, but we're not going to have it today. But soon enough.
Soon enough, you will have to read more. But yeah, other than that, I think I'm set.
All right. Thanks for joining me, Cheryl. Thanks for
and
being here. Thanks for watching, everybody who's watching. Sorry we couldn't do a live thing.
Yeah, thanks for
Blame Facebook.
Thanks for your patience with
We'll be
all the
back.
technical difficulties.
Thank you very much for your patience. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching, and have a lovely 4th of July weekend.
Bye, everyone.